When Sarah Sanders says the president's been very clear, maybe she means we can all see right through him. Reports the president hoped to bus migrants to sanctuary cities that were shot down by the White House were then confirmed by the president, which is that special kind of whiplash you only really get from a county fair. The idea was briefly and informally raised, and while we don't know by who, my money's on that mysterious new guy. Trump told the HS secretary he'd pardon him if he broke immigration law, essentially giving him his get-out-of-jail-free card, which makes sense since he definitely didn't win second prize in a beauty contest. And why asked why the president wouldn't divulge his taxes, Sarah Sanders said lawmakers aren't smart enough to understand them, and survey says, "Oh, I'm sorry, that just wasn't plausible. Let's see what better excuses made the board." AG Barr read his taxes and says they're fine. The auditors got audited, and if you go bankrupt, you don't have to do taxes anymore. Better luck next time, Secretary. As a parting gift, please enjoy this gift certificate to any DC restaurant that'll actually give you a table. So, how redacted will the Mueller Report be? Well, his name is Barr. The redacted Mueller Report will be released Thursday, and if you think I've run out of Mueller puns after 2 years, that's not something you should muller over. I'm running on fumes here. Republicans should prepare for a glowing report from what literary experts will call the Barr translation. Democrats are hoping the AG missed a super-secret special indictment Mueller wrote in disappearing ink. And what about the taxpayers? Well, if I wanted to pay for something disappointing where nothing happens, I'd go see Lost in Translation again. And Trump suggested dumping water tankers on Notre Dame, forcing French officials to waste valuable time explaining that would collapse the whole building. So now his Catholic supporters have to ignore his lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride, and his advice that would destroy a 900-year-old church. Let's just call it a special 8th sin invented just for our president, bumbling input. So the president referred to himself and Fox News as we? Either they're in cahoots, or they've both joined the Borg. Bernie Sanders held a town hall on Fox News with a crowd so high energy, the moderator should have been Ed Sullivan, which fits because Bernie technically has more of a mop top than anyone. Trump complained the moderators were smiley and nice, which we all know are the filthy gateway feelings of being fair and balanced, and said the crowd was stuffed with Bernie supporters. Boy, look how easy it was for the crowd to adopt a system where the community decided the means distribution and exchange of ideas, as opposed to Trump crowds, which are truer to capitalism in that they're definitely privately owned. With all the court orders, summaries, and redactions, there's going to be more versions of the Mueller Report than Blade Runner. Well, the Attorney General is ready to release the Mueller Report after a quick press conference in the morning. It's like after 2 years when your crush finally agrees to go out with you, but you have to wait 3 weeks, and then when you show up, her dad sits you down to give you a summary of how she feels about you before your modestly redacted date. The president's legal team is working on their rebuttal because total exoneration sounds better when it's shouted in unison by a dozen lawyers. But this isn't a stalling tactic. Think of it as an opening act, Barr and Rosenstein, though they're both the straight man and they don't do any crowd work. Ugh, I'd call this a circus, but circuses don't smell this much like shit. Mueller's account of our bumbling president is damning, embarrassing, and a pretty good reboot for Duck Soup.
If you think this country's bad off now, just wait till I get through with it.
Well, here we go, the Mueller Report, a massive tome that's only good for the president in that they spell his name right. The verdict? The president is not a Russian asset, but he's also not much of an American asset. Mueller couldn't legally assert obstruction, but laid out dozens of situations for us to make that decision. Like Lego instructions. Listen, we're not saying it has to be a pirate ship, but here's all the pieces to make a pirate ship, and it's definitely a pirate ship. Mueller called Trump's written responses inadequate. Hey, only one person gets to call him inadequate, and she has the decency to do it after he falls asleep. And everyone's favorite moment when Trump found out about the special counsel, he slumped in his chair and said, "I'm fucked." That's not a direct admission of guilt, but if your coworker says, "Wait, they think I put dog poop on the boss's desk? I'm fucked," maybe don't shake hands with him for a while. Cool? Cool.